Welcome to Prep Pass. Here are 18 real ServSafe alcohol advanced practice questions with answers for 2026. Read each question, then try to answer before the 5-second timer runs out. For the full free practice test, just search preppass.org. Let's begin. Question 1. The federal minimum legal drinking age in the United States is A. 18. B. 21. C. 19. D. Set individually by each city. The correct answer is B. The National Minimum Drinking Age Act effectively sets 21 as the minimum legal drinking age nationwide by tying federal highway funding to it, so all states prohibit selling or serving alcohol to anyone under 21. Some narrow state exceptions exist, for example, with a parent present or for religious purposes, but for commercial service the line is 21. Ages 18 and 19 are below the legal purchase/consumption age for on-premise service. Question 2. Which document is generally acceptable as valid proof of age for alcohol service? A. A photocopy of a driver's license. B. A current, unexpired government-issued photo ID such as a driver's license, state ID, passport, or military ID. C. A student ID card. D. A birth certificate. The correct answer is B. Acceptable proof of age is a current, unexpired, government-issued ID that carries a photo and date of birth, typically a driver's license, state ID card, passport, or military ID. Photocopies can be altered and are not the original, student IDs are not government-issued proof of age, and a birth certificate has no photo to tie it to the person presenting it. Always verify the ID is genuine, unexpired, and matches the guest. Question 3. Which is a common behavioral sign that a guest may be becoming intoxicated? A. Ordering food with their drink. B. Slurred speech, loss of coordination, or becoming loud and argumentative. C. Paying with a credit card. D. Asking for the wine list. The correct answer is B. Behavioral cues of intoxication include slurred speech, impaired coordination or balance, glassy or unfocused eyes, and changes in behavior such as becoming unusually loud, argumentative, overly friendly, or careless. Servers are trained to watch for these signs and slow or stop service. Ordering food, paying by card, or asking for the wine list are ordinary guest behaviors and are not signs of impairment. Question 4. A guest is showing clear signs of intoxication. What is the recommended approach to stopping service? A. Announce loudly that the guest is cut off. B. Calmly and respectfully stop alcohol service, offer food, water, or a non-alcoholic drink, and avoid embarrassing the guest. C. Keep serving but water down the drinks without telling them. D. Ignore it and let another server decide. The correct answer is B. Effective intervention is calm, private, and respectful. Quietly stop alcohol service, offer food, water, or a non-alcoholic option, and avoid embarrassing or confronting the guest, which reduces the chance of an angry scene. Announcing the cutoff loudly can escalate the situation. Secretly watering drinks is deceptive and still leaves the guest impaired, and passing the decision off ignores the server's responsibility to act. Question 5. Under many dramshop and social host frameworks, who can potentially be held liable for overservice? A. Only the guest who drank. B. Only the manufacturer of the alcohol. C. The establishment, and in some states the individual server or manager, in addition to the intoxicated guest. D. No one, once the guest leaves the premises. The correct answer is C. Liability for unlawful service can extend beyond the intoxicated guest to the establishment and, in some states, to the individual server or manager who served them. This shared exposure is exactly why responsible service training, house policies, and documentation exist. The alcohol manufacturer is generally not the liable party for overservice, and liability does not simply vanish when the guest leaves. Question 6. After refusing service to an intoxicated guest or a minor, what should staff do to protect the establishment? A. Keep it quiet so the guest is not embarrassed and record nothing. B. Document the incident, time, reason for refusal, and what happened in an incident log or report. C. Post the guest's name publicly. D. Let the next shift find out on their own. The correct answer is B. A refusal of service should be documented in an incident log or report, the date and time, the reason, visible intoxication, invalid ID, minor, the actions taken, and any witnesses. This record shows the establishment acted responsibly and is valuable if the incident is later questioned. Recording nothing leaves no proof of the right action, publicly naming a guest is inappropriate, and leaving the next shift uninformed undermines consistent enforcement. Question 7. A supervisor is responsible for responsible beverage service. Which practice best reflects that responsibility across a shift? A. Encouraging staff to upsell doubles to raise the check average. B. Serving as many drinks as a guest requests until they object. C. Ignoring intoxication as long as the guest is paying. D. Monitoring guests' consumption, pacing service, and stopping service before a guest becomes intoxicated. The correct answer is D. Responsible beverage service means actively managing the room, monitoring how much guests consume, pacing service, offering food and water, and stopping service before, not after, a guest becomes intoxicated. Pushing doubles, serving without limit, or ignoring intoxication for the sake of the check all increase the risk of an overserved, impaired guest and the liability that follows. Supervisors set the tone and hold staff to this standard. Question 8. A guest presents an ID that is expired but otherwise appears genuine. What is the correct action under most responsible service policies? A. Do not accept it as valid proof of age and decline alcohol service. B. Accept it because it once was valid. C. Accept it if the guest looks clearly over 21. D. Accept it only after 9 p.m. The correct answer is A. An expired ID is not valid proof of age, so most policies require declining alcohol service until the guest provides a current, unexpired government ID. It was valid before does not make it acceptable now, appearance is never a substitute for valid ID, and the time of day is irrelevant. Following the policy consistently protects both the guest and the establishment's license. Question 9. Roughly how long does the body take to metabolize the alcohol in one standard drink, a fact supervisors use to understand pacing? A. About 5 minutes. B. About 15 minutes. C. About 1 hour. D. Alcohol leaves the body instantly once the guest stops drinking. The correct answer is C. On average, the body metabolizes roughly 1 standard drink per hour, and that rate cannot be meaningfully sped up by coffee, water, food, or fresh air. Understanding this helps staff grasp why a guest who drinks faster than the body can process becomes progressively more impaired, and why pacing service and counting drinks over time matters. Alcohol does not leave the body instantly, and no trick sobers a person faster. Question 10. A supervisor can slow a guest's alcohol consumption before intervention becomes necessary by A. Serving drinks faster to get the guest to leave sooner. B. Offering free shots to regulars. C. Pacing service, suggesting food, and offering water between rounds. D. Removing all non-alcoholic options from the menu. The correct answer is C. Proactive pacing keeps guests from reaching intoxication in the first place, slow the rate of service, suggest food, which slows alcohol absorption, and offer water or non-alcoholic drinks between rounds. Serving faster, giving free shots, or removing non-alcoholic options all push consumption up and make a difficult cutoff more likely. Prevention through pacing is easier and safer than intervention after the fact. Question 11. Why should an establishment keep records of staff alcohol service certifications and training? A. Only to satisfy curiosity. B. Because certifications never expire and records are pointless. C. To prove staff were properly trained, meet regulatory requirements, and support the establishment's defense if an incident occurs. D. To decide employee schedules. The correct answer is C. Maintaining records of who is certified, when they trained, and when certifications expire proves the establishment met its training and regulatory obligations and supports its defense if a dram shop or overservice incident arises. Many certifications expire and must be renewed, so tracking dates matters. Records exist for compliance and liability protection, not merely curiosity or scheduling. Question 12. Which service is generally prohibited under responsible service laws in most jurisdictions? A. Serving alcohol to a guest who is already visibly intoxicated. B. Offering a non-alcoholic alternative to a cut-off guest. C. Asking a young-looking guest for ID. D. Serving food alongside drinks. The correct answer is A. In nearly all jurisdictions it is illegal to serve alcohol to a guest who is already visibly, obviously, intoxicated, just as it is illegal to serve a minor. Offering a non-alcoholic alternative to a cut-off guest, checking ID on a young-looking guest, and serving food are all responsible practices that the law encourages. The prohibited act is continuing to serve alcohol to someone showing clear signs of intoxication. Question 13. Why should a supervisor train staff to check ID on all guests who appear under a set age threshold, for example, under 30 or 40, not only those who look under 21? A. Because older guests drink more. B. Because it speeds up service. C. Because the law requires carding every single guest without exception. D. Because a conservative age cushion reduces the chance of misjudging a minor who looks older. The correct answer is D. People are hard to age by appearance, and a minor can look several years older. Setting a conservative carding threshold, a common house policy is to card anyone who looks under 30 or 40, builds in a cushion so a young-looking of-age guest is asked, and a mature-looking minor is not missed. It is a risk management practice, not a legal requirement to card literally everyone, and it has nothing to do with speed or how much older guests drink. Question 14. Which factor can cause two guests who drank the same amount to reach very different levels of impairment? A. Only the brand of alcohol. B. Only the time of day. C. A nothing, impairment depends solely on the number of drinks. D. Body weight, whether they ate, tolerance, medications, and rate of drinking. The correct answer is D. Blood alcohol concentration and impairment depend on many factors beyond drink count, body weight and composition, whether and what the person ate, drinking rate, biological differences, medications, and fatigue. That is why staff must judge each guest by observed signs rather than assuming a fixed number of drinks is safe. The brand of alcohol and time of day are not the drivers, and impairment is never determined by drink count alone. Question 15. A cut-off guest who appears intoxicated insists on driving home. What is the responsible response? A. Hand over the keys since it is the guest's choice. B. Do nothing, because responsibility ends at the door. C. Serve one more drink to calm them down. D. Try to arrange a safe alternative, a taxi or rideshare, a sober ride, or contacting authorities if necessary. The correct answer is D. When an intoxicated guest intends to drive, staff should try to prevent it by arranging a safe alternative, call a taxi or rideshare, help find a sober driver, or, if the person cannot be dissuaded and public safety is at risk, contact authorities. Handing over keys or doing nothing exposes the guest, the public, and the establishment to serious harm and liability, and serving another drink only worsens impairment. Question 16. A supervisor is reviewing an incident where an overserved guest later caused harm. What is the value of a post-incident review? A. It assigns blame to one server and closes the matter. B. It has no value once the incident is over. C. It is only useful if the police request it. D. It identifies what went wrong and helps improve policies, training, and prevention going forward. The correct answer is D. A post-incident review examines what happened and why so the operation can strengthen its policies, training, pacing, and monitoring to prevent a repeat. Its purpose is learning and prevention, not simply blaming one employee or closing the file. It has ongoing internal value regardless of whether authorities request it, and it is a hallmark of a mature, supervisor-led responsible service program. Question 17. Why should staff try to note a guest's condition when they arrive, before serving? A. So they can spot a guest who is already intoxicated or was pre-drinking and should not be served. B. So they can seat heavier drinkers together. C. Because arrival condition has no bearing on service. D. To decide how large a tip to expect. The correct answer is A. Assessing a guest at arrival establishes a baseline and can reveal someone who is already intoxicated, perhaps from pre-drinking elsewhere, and therefore should not be served. It also helps staff attribute later signs of impairment correctly. Arrival condition is directly relevant to a lawful service decision. It is not about seating strategy or predicting tips. Question 18. Which is the best example of a written house policy that supports consistent, responsible alcohol service? A. A clear policy stating the carding age threshold, drink limit guidance, refusal procedures, and how to document incidents. B. An unwritten understanding that servers use their judgment. C. A policy that changes nightly depending on how busy it is. D. A rule that only the owner may ever refuse service. The correct answer is A. A strong written policy spells out the concrete expectations, the age at which to card, guidance on drink limits and pacing, how to refuse service, and how to document incidents, so every shift enforces the same standard. Unwritten use your judgment rules, policies that shift with the crowd, or rules that reserve refusals to the owner all produce inconsistent, higher-risk service. Consistency is what protects guests and the establishment. That's all 18 questions. Want the full ServSafe practice test with hundreds of questions, completely free? Just search preppass.org. Good luck on your exam.